Every mid-season update, we gather around to find out how the newest killer has affected the landscape of how DBD is played by looking at the pick and kill rate for each killer. This is the kill rate side of things, and if you're interested in getting to know who the most played killer at this very moment is, make sure to check out my latest video, which is linked first in the description. And now, after you've obviously pressed the subscribe button, let's start straight in this video with place number 29. And the last place goes to the Hillbilly with a kill rate of 45.66, and this is to me little to no surprising. He was always down at the bottom, he never really changed his position. I think the main reason is because he's like very hard to play, especially for beginners. His pick rate also isn't the highest in the game, and I think like people who start to play him will realize that he's very difficult and then just shift away from him very quickly, and that's why his kill rate is that low. So Hillbilly makes a little less than 2 kills per game. Next up we have the Demogorgon with a kill rate of 47.82%. And this is like 2.2% higher than Hillbilly, so you see, Hillbilly is dead last, right? There's no hope for him. I don't know what the Demogorgon is here, because I think he's like very good in his potential when you play him. I think there's so much to it, and he should definitely be higher. I don't know why he's here, I really don't know, because like, in my opinion, also very like easy to learn. You need to get a bit used to his portals and all that stuff, because I needed time to do that, but yeah, besides that, I think Demo is here, and that makes me a bit sad. Place 27 is the Trickster with a kill rate of 47.88, only 0.6% higher than the Demogorgon, and I am thinking about this very carefully, because I've heard that many people quit against the Trickster. I don't know why, because he's here and you can clearly see that he's never killing anyone. I mean, roughly 2 people per game, but still, don't quit against the Trickster. I mean, I know his counterplay is boring and wait, considering it all, fuck the Trickster, honestly. Not really surprising that we see the Trapper that far down here. He has a kill rate of 47.93%. This is little to no surprising. He basically gives up so much in the beginning of the game to trap up a special area. And if you're playing against good survivor friends, or even if you're just playing against normal people that know how the Trapper works, they just don't go into this area or harass him constantly. The Trapper relies so much on mistakes from the survivors, so it's kind of like expected that he's here. However, hitting someone with a trap, fucking shit, that's so nice. I probably said this like every time I talk about the Trapper, right? Because I should write scripts, right? Next up comes the Twins with the pick rate of 48.81%. The least pick killer in the game has probably like a big problem when it comes to kill rates in general. Let's face it, many people play her, they don't get hooked to her playstyle, and then they just fade away again. They haven't mastered her, they haven't played her much, and they just drag down the kill rate. I think that is her main problem. With that being said, now we make a big jump and go into the kill rate section where the killers at least have 2 kills per game. And place number 24 is the Doctor, and I don't know why he's here, because his shocks and everything can deny pellets so brutally. And when I see Odstava play with the Doctor, I think that they're almost unstoppable. I don't know why, but I think Doctor should be way higher, because the skill ceiling is so far. With that being said, Doctor with a kill rate of 50.1% finds itself on place number 24. Pyramid Head finds itself on place number 22 with a kill rate of 50.93%. And I don't really know why he's here. Probably the same as Hillbilly and the same as Twins. Very hard to pick up. But his pick rate, it kind of like goes against it. However, you still need like a lot of time to learn him and to actually perfect him. And thinking about it, he consists very much out of mind games. So if you're not into that, and if you don't like that, then he's like very hard to play. With that being said, Executioner, place number 23. It is definitely not the easiest time for the Hag. She has currently a kill rate of 50.95%. However, 60 days ago, she was a 57.83, if I remember that correctly. Do you know why? Why is she so miserable in this? Amongst the favorites killers in the game, the Legion has a kill rate of 51.87%, and sometimes you really suffer with Legion when you play him. There's not really much to it. He's played by many, also by noobs, and therefore his kill rate is as low as it is. Let's welcome the Deathslinger inside our top 20 with a kill rate of 52.46%. he's just average. Like, every Deathslinger I meet is neither good or bad. They're all just that average. And I think it shows simply here. With the Trapper and, like, totally taking away add-ons right now, Miles, in my opinion, is one of the weakest killers in-game. However, he remains to be one of the most picked as well. His kill rate of 52.5% is very decent, and I'm not going to take away anything of that. However, I think it's surprising that he makes the top 20 and that he actually has 10 people behind him. Yes, his tombstone piece exists. I've covered this in a pick rate video as well, where I freaked out a bit. I'm sorry for that, but it's okay for him. It is really okay for him. Thinking where he actually stands in overall skill and in overall capability, he can be happy with that place. I don't know. Is it a bit of becoming a meme that they haven't fixed his render yet? Maybe. maybe that's just because I'm a lazy fucker outside of producing videos. However, his kill rate of 52.56 is nothing to be ashamed of. He's sitting somewhere in the middle pack. His pick rate still like in the topper half, and it is okay. It is okay for Nemesis. I think he can be happy with where he is. Considering the fact that the Cannibal was one of the strongest underdog scenarios in games, I was actually almost certain that he has a way higher kill rate. Think of this, right? He is probably the most reliable killer to get 1 or 2 kills with. Anyway, he only sits slightly above Nemesis with a kill rate of 53.02. The Partypooper claims place number 16 with a kill rate of 53.33. He almost hits bangs in the middle. The next spot will actually be like the exact middle point. However, I think it's actually a little bit surprising that he's above the Doctor, because if I compare the Doctor and the Clown, I think the Doctor is far better than the Clown, despite them playing somewhat the same. However, well done to the Clown. Now it's my time to bring finally up that the guy with the worst chase music in all of Dead by Daylight, this Cenobite, claims place number 15. Oh yeah, you thought, like, when I did this video once, I leave you alone with that. No. I don't. I will mention this forever. Anyway, the Cenobite, 53.35% in kill rate, place 15. In place number 14, we have the Oni with a kill rate of 53.36%. And I've never mentioned this in any of my videos, but I think Oni is actually the better Hillbilly. Yeah, fight me for that. The strongest killer in-game takes place 13. And this is like a surprise to me and probably to many out there. Her kill rate at the moment is 54.18%. And I think I leave this, I let it stand by its own. With a kill rate of 54.52%, on place number 12 we find the Huntress, and they're like good and bad Huntresses, so I'm actually surprised that the Huntress is this far up, because you know, a bad Huntress, like the worst Huntress in the game, when you're being chased by her around the pallet, she always like flicks her hatchet when she is about to have like clear line of sight to you, and you always can like loop her almost indefinitely around that fucking rock, pallet, whatever. It is sometimes really insane what you can pull off against her. With that being said, I'm surprised that she's that far up, not gonna lie. And now on place 11 comes the Mastermind. It's really surprising how the Nurse, the Huntress, and Wesker are like so close together again. He has a kill rate of 54.8%, and yeah, considering all of the people who play him, I think that's okay. He's still a very strong killer, same as Huntress, same as Nurse, and they're probably, because of their very high pick rate, and because obviously the Nurse and the Huntress are like available from the get-go, so their kill rate obviously is a bit lower and can't be at the very top, because like the newest players are playing them as well. Thinking about it all, considering it all, I think Mastermind has a very good spot here. When it comes to kill rates, you sometimes need to get a bit more in depth, and this is what we're going to do while we're presenting the top 10. 54.92% kill rate goes to the Ghostface. He has risen by 0.8%, and the 0.8% rising has managed him a top 10 spot. With the old 54% kill rate, he wasn't even in the top 20. We're looking, by the way, at 30-day period. So basically, the period I'm talking about is a period that's 60 days ago to this recording. I'm recording this at the 13th of October. And this is insane. This is insane. What does that tell us? It tells us basically that survivors are managing the current meta better and better and better, and that the kill rates are slowly sinking for killers. The average right now is at 53.59%, meaning that an average of all killers, 53.59% of the survivors are killed in average per game. The old average was 55%. A minor difference you might think, but in overall, a big fucking jump in just 30 days. And talking about the previous data set, the Spirit was their top 1 with 59%. Now she's only claiming place number 9 with 55.08%. Yeah, and that's about it. There's nothing else to tell. She's dropped by 8 places. Next up is a bit of a surprising act. However, he's been steady almost every time in every dataset. His kill rate is 55.25. Maybe because of his simplicity? Could that be a factor? I don't know. I think he's weak and I've never really met a good Wraith player. However, can you be a good Wraith player? Because if you're just looking at it, like every time you're playing against Wraith, it doesn't feel like he's like doing a good job, if that makes any sense. Because everything he does is like so basic. Anyway, place number 8 for. So next up comes a killer that is a known solo queue stomper. It is the Plague with a kill rate of 55.91%. And she's fun to play. She's one of the strongest killers in game. Arguably the 3rd best killer if you compare it to like the Spirit. If you want to make up the conversation who's the 3rd best killer in the game, it's probably Spirit or Plague. And because her counterplay is like cleansing or not cleansing, and she always has you inside of a disadvantage when you play against her. So the Plague is here, and of course it is absolutely deserved. Place number 7. And talking about strong killers, we obviously have the Blight here as well, 56.04%. Yeah, I'm actually a bit surprised that his kill rate is that high, because he's hard to play in my opinion. You really need time to learn him properly, so good job. RNG, make the pig what she is. Her kill rate is 57.07%. She sometimes has very, very bad games, especially when her trap RNG is not going her way. But when it's going her way, she's one of the deadliest killers in game, and it really shows. She has never really dropped outside of the top 10, at least when I started caring about these stats. So yeah, nerf pig, obviously, right? And on place number 4, we have the Artist with a kill rate of 57.46%. Sadly, she is missing out on our podium. And now let's get on to the most surprising podium of all time. The Dredge takes the bronze medal with a kill rate of 57.57. His anti-loop is disgusting. I say this, if you can play this well, then you can do so much damage with it and inflict so much pain. However, I'm like surprised that he is here, because he feels, when you play him and pick him for the first time, I say this like a lot, but he feels clunky. I don't know, he doesn't feel smooth and something feels like off. I hope someone do some patches with him. If you play the Dredge very, very often, tell me how you can actually be a very, very good Dredge player, and actually post some tips down below, because I'd actually like to get more out of him. Surprises are coming left, right, and center now. The Onryo takes the silver medal. The fucking Onryo takes the silver medal with a kill rate of 58.8%. 1.3% higher than place number 3, I might add. What the fuck? Dude, One Pump Willie must have helped Nightlight.gg tremendously to sort out his stats. I swear to God. Otherwise, where are those games for me? I have so many questions. And the gold medal takes home the Nightmare Freddy with a kill rate of 59.66%. And I feel that's okay. I don't know why, but when I've played the Nightmare and Freddy, like, he always has delivered very, very well. Yes, his power is boring. Let's face it, his dream snares, his dream pellets, they're counterable very easily, and they only inflict survivors when they're like in the dream world. However, I have always played very well with him. So from my perspective, from the 20 to 30 games I've played with him, I've mostly 3K'd. So I think that's okay. Anyways, Nightmare currently is the deadliest killer in Dead by Daylight. And this concludes the kill rate video of this mid-season update. What are your thoughts about it? What was the most surprising act on this list? Tell me down below. Also, all of these facts are taken from Nightlight.gg, a website about DBD data. They have only access to little thousands of games, so if you want to help them get a bigger file of stats ready, then check out the website. You can upload games there starting right now to make these videos and only their stats more reliable and better for the future. With that being said, love you guys, see you in the next one.